Chandamama Mahabharata, Part 33. Ghosha Yatra. Dhritarashtra felt remorse upon hearing the news of the Pandavas, and he grew fearful about what lay ahead. Shakuni noticed this and mentioned the matter to Karna. Both of them went to Duryodhan and told him that the old king was deeply troubled. Hearing this, Duryodhan became despondent. Then Karna said to Duryodhan, "O king, the Pandavas, who are suffering all kinds of hardships in the forests due to your cleverness, should be the ones feeling despondent. Why should you feel despondent when you have also seized their kingdom, become the emperor, and are enjoying every luxury? It is said that the Pandavas are currently in the Dvaita forest. If you display your grandeur before them in this situation, they will grieve even more. That Draupadi should seethe with jealousy upon seeing your women's quarters." Shakuni insisted that they must act exactly as Karna suggested. After listening to both of them, Duryodhan said, "Your idea is excellent. However, I doubt whether my father will allow us to go to the Dvaita forest, especially since you just mentioned that he is feeling remorseful upon seeing the plight of the Pandavas. Therefore, look for some stratagem so that we may see the suffering of the Pandavas with our own eyes and rejoice. Discuss this with Dushasana as well, and let me know tomorrow morning. Moreover, Bhishma must also agree to our journey. Think of a way to convince both of those elders." With that, Duryodhan sent Shakuni and Karna away. The next day, Karna returned and, while Shakuni and Dushasana were listening, told Duryodhan, "Our herds of cattle are in the Dvaita forest. It is your duty to ensure arrangements are made to protect them from the menace of wild beasts. Therefore, if you say that you are going to the Dvaita forest for this purpose, the old king will certainly agree. Let us go to the Dvaita forest in grand style, humiliate the Pandavas, and return." Everyone clapped and praised Karna's idea. They summoned a cowherd named Samanga and told him, "You come with us to the elder king and tell him that our herds of cows are in the Dvaita forest." That cowherd accompanied the wicked quartet to Dhritarashtra and said, "O Lord, our herds of cows are currently in the Dvaita forest. There is excellent pasture for them there. The herds are safe, but they must be protected from the menace of wild beasts in the future. I have come to convey this matter." Then Karna and Shakuni said to Dhritarashtra, "If Duryodhan goes there and hunts down the wild beasts, it will ensure the safety of the herds. Furthermore, he can also oversee the branding of the calves and supervise their maintenance arrangements." Hearing those words, Dhritarashtra said, "Protecting the herds from wild beasts is indeed a good thing, but going to the Dvaita forest at this time is not a proper action. The Pandavas, who lost in the dice game and are living in exile, reside in that very forest. If you go there, some catastrophe might occur. Even if there is no fault of yours in it, the infamy will fall upon you alone. There is no fear from the rest of the Pandavas, but Bhima is like a vengeful serpent. Draupadi is also of a similar nature. You too possess a rash temperament. If a dispute arises between you all, it will cause great danger. It is heard that Arjuna recently went to the heavens and brought divine weapons. You are no match for him. Therefore, instead of going yourselves for the protection of the cows, send someone else." Shakuni said to Dhritarashtra, "We will not allow any untoward incidents to happen. In fact, we will not even go near the region where the Pandavas reside. We will spend a few days roaming the forest, inspect the herds of cows, and return on our way. The Pandavas will also not act in haste against the words of Yudhishthir, as Yudhishthir is the very embodiment of righteousness." Dhritarashtra believed these words and said, "Very well, go and return." Duryodhan was overjoyed and, accompanied by Karna, Shakuni, and Dushasana, set out on the Ghosha Yatra, with many citizens and their wives following along. Thousands of chariots, elephants, horses, soldiers, hunters, and bards accompanied him. Carts laden with various kinds of supplies and articles accompanied them. Some days later, all of them reached the Dvaita forest and established their camp. They inspected all the herds, separated the cows, oxen, and bulls, branded them all, gave appropriate instructions to the cattle herders, rewarded them, and rejoiced watching their dances and songs. Milk and curd required for the camp arrived. The hunters went out, hunted, and brought meat. Duryodhan, accompanied by his women, sons, and friends, roamed the forest, enjoying its beauty, and came to the lake located in the middle of the Dvaita forest, making his encampment on its bank. Yudhishthir's hermitage was located on the opposite bank of that very lake. At the time of Duryodhan's arrival, Yudhishthir, with the assistance of the Brahmans accompanying him, was under initiation to perform a yajna called Sadhyaska. According to the orders of Duryodhan, his servants began efforts to construct cottages on this side of the lake. Then, The Gandharv soldiers who were guarding the lake opposed them and said, "It is the command of our Lord that no one shall halt here. You leave this place and set up your camps elsewhere." As soon as his servants came and reported this matter, Duryodhan arrogantly summoned his soldiers and ordered them to drive away those Gandharv soldiers. They went to the Gandharv soldiers and threatened them, saying, "King Duryodhan has come here for recreation. You leave, otherwise your lives will not be spared." The Gandharv soldiers laughed and said, "Whom do you think you are threatening? We do not care about your king. Our lord is the Gandharv king named Chitrasena. Properly leave this place and set up your camps beside the hermitage of Yudhishthir on the other side or at some other place. This is the place where our Gandharv king recreates." Hearing this matter, Duryodhan became like a stepped-on serpent and said, "Who are the Gandharvs to command me?" and sent his army into battle against the Gandharvs. In the meantime, the Gandharvs obtained the permission of Chitrasena and crushed the forces of Duryodhan completely. Karna, who was watching all this from a distance, went to war against the Gandharv soldiers to win the appreciation of Duryodhan and killed some soldiers. But within moments, Gandharv soldiers arrived in thousands and surrounded Karna. The brothers of Duryodhan went to assist Karna. The small skirmish turned into a great battle. Chitrasena himself came to the battlefield. As Chitrasena began using illusory warfare, the soldiers of Duryodhan started fleeing. The brothers of Duryodhan began turning them back. Karna alone stood bravely and fought. But the Gandharv soldiers shattered his chariot into pieces. Karna became chariotless, boarded the chariot of Vikarn and fled. Duryodhan was captured by the Gandharvs. Chitrasena did not kill Duryodhan but tied his arms behind him and took him captive. Seeing that, the remaining Gandharvs captured and bound the brothers of Duryodhan and their wives. Seeing their leaders being taken away captive by the Gandharvs, the Kaurva soldiers ran to the hermitage of Yudhishthir and cried out to him, "O noble soul! The Gandharvs are taking the Kaurva princes and their wives captive and taking them toward the Gandhamadana region. Please show mercy and rescue them." Hearing these words, Bhima said, "The Gandharvs have done the very task that needed to be done. The necessity of gathering large armies and fighting a war has been avoided. Thus does God help good people who are in hardship." Yudhishthir admonished Bhima, saying, "Is this the time to speak in this manner? The Kauravas have now sought our refuge. It is our duty to protect them. If humiliation is caused to the wives of our kinsmen, is it not a humiliation to us? Since I am under initiation for the Sadhyaskayagya, you, along with Arjuna, Nakula, and Sahdev, take our retinue, pursue the Gandharvs, and rescue the wives of the Kauravas. Do not rush into war with the Gandharvs. If possible, accomplish the task with pleasant words, and fight only if that is not possible. Bear in mind that if a dispute arises among ourselves, they are 100 and we are 5, but when confronting outsiders, we are 105. Arjuna said they would act exactly as Yudhishthir instructed, and got ready for war along with Bhima, Nakula, and Sahdev. Boarding fast-moving chariots, he set out on the path taken by the Gandharvs. The Kaurva soldiers regained their spirits. Learning that the Pandavas were pursuing them, the Gandharvs stopped. Arjuna approached them and said, "O Gandharvs, Duryodhan, whom you are taking away captive, is our brother. Release him. This is the wish of our elder brother Yudhishthir. This is the command of Indra to us, and it is our duty to obey his command," replied the Gandharvs. "It is highly improper for the Gandharv king to take women captive. Listen to our words and release Duryodhan, the others, and their wives. If you do not do so amicably, we will have to fight with you and rescue our people," said Arjuna. However, the Gandharvs did not yield to pleasant words and prepared for war. The war commenced between the Pandavas and the Gandharvs. Just as they had captured Duryodhan and his brothers, the Gandharvs surrounded the Pandavas to capture them as well. But this strategy did not work against the Pandavas. Arjuna began wounding the Gandharv soldiers severely with his arrows, and he shattered the weapons they hurled at him midway. In the midst of the battle, Chitrasena said, "Arjuna, have you not recognized me? I am Chitrasena, your friend." This wicked Duryodhan, along with his entourage, set out for the Dvaita forest under the pretext of the Ghosha Yatra to display his grandeur before you and Draupadi, and to cause you distress. Knowing this, Indra sent me to capture all of them and bring them to the heavens. Therefore, I am executing his command. To that, Arjuna replied, "He is indeed wicked, but he is our kinsman. Our brother Yudhishthir has ordered us to rescue him. It would be well if you come to our brother Yudhishthir and act according to his words. I ask this of you as your friend and disciple." Chitrasena accompanied Arjuna and the others to the hermitage and recounted everything that happened to Yudhishthir. After listening to everything, Yudhishthir said, O king of Gandharvas, it is truly our good fortune that you did not kill Duryodhan. A great calamity to our clan has been averted. I am immensely pleased to see you. Please grant my request and release Duryodhan and the others. Chitrasena released the Kauravas as requested by Yudhishthir and departed for the heavens with his entourage. Thereafter, Yudhishthir called Duryodhan near and said, My child, never do such a thing again. No happiness arises from it. Do not grieve over what has happened, and return home with the women of the palace. Chandamama Mahabharata, Part 33 is complete. For now, Swasti.